My main trauma with sexual assault happened between the years when I was in year 8 to year 10.
I remember just feeling sick. It felt like I didn't really have a choice. You're in a relationship. It was when I was like 14. We used to go around this guy I was seeing's house. He was also like 14. And we'd sort of, chat and maybe smoke in the garden. And one time his friend came round. He bought us tobacco because he was like 21, which is the age I am now, which is crazy. Everyone was sort of inside listening to music, and I went outside into the shed to have a cigarette. Yeah, he followed me into the shed, and we were smoking, and he like took my hand and put it down his trousers, and I kind of tried to pull away, and he held my hand there, and I was like no, kind of saying like no and sort of trying to laugh it off. And then the guy I was seeing was like shouted his name, and he like took it out and sort of just left. And I was just stood there like, what the fuck just happened?
My main trauma with sexual assault happened between the years when I was in year 8 to year 10. And it was one of those things where it started innocently, and then it escalated to kind of sexual assault and sexual abuse. It became a lot physical, but then also there was an emotional side to it. I would get mad at him for the way he treated me, and then it'd be, well, I'm gonna kill myself, and it's gonna be all your fault. And then he knew where I lived, and he'd show up at my house, and he'd be like, if you don't let me into your house, I'm gonna wait here till your parents get home. And my parents were quite strict at the time. They didn't really know I had male friends. They weren't really on board with that kind of thing. So for me, my parents finding out was more scary than letting him into my house. If I rejected too much, pulled back too much, he'd punch me. I'd go into school and my arms are covered in bruises, my legs are covered in bruises. He'd give me like hickeys as a kind of thing of like, well, they're gonna find out and you're gonna get in trouble. And that led me to not only hiding things from my parents but my friends, because I was ashamed to admit what was going on because this was their friend as well. End of year 9 time, he did the same routine of kind of coming to my house and stuff, and he sexually assaulted me by like penetrating me with his fingers. And I remember like I'm screaming, crying, I'm very clearly saying I don't want this, but I remember my younger brother was downstairs, and at that point he was still in primary school, and you don't want your younger brother coming up and hearing that. I'm crying, I'm shaking, and he comes towards me, and I move away, and I vividly remember him asking, shocked, like, why are you scared of me? Why are you acting like you're scared of me? And then I remember before he left, he said to me, if you tell anyone, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna rape you.
So I had a partner that used to be quite aggressive in the way he spoke to me and put me down, and he'd like scream at me and throw things. It would be like me sort of locking myself away and crying, and I started drinking a lot to cope with things. I remember when I told everyone about my boyfriend and how sort of aggressive and stuff he'd been to me. And originally all his friends sort of stopped being friends with him, and then over a few months they became friends with him again, and the narrative was I was crazy, like I'm a crazy alcoholic, instead of he's driven me into this state where I'm not myself anymore. I remember with the ex I've been speaking about, I wasn't having sex with him at that time. I didn't really feel like it. I didn't really want to be sexualized. He kept having a go at me for it. Like, the reason our relationship isn't working is because you won't have sex with me. The reason I'm upset and angry is all the time is because you won't, you haven't had sex with me in like a couple of weeks. And I know there was also sort of times where I might have been asleep and sort of woken up to it. I guess in a way it kind of starts making you feel like, your body's not your own anymore.
Like, he wouldn't let me just forget it. He'd still continue the kind of mental abuse of messaging me about it and, not only threatening me, but making jokes about it, saying that if I say anything, he's gonna kill himself or he's gonna kill me, or and then finally in year 10, I confided in a friend. I just broke down, and after like a year, I told her what happened, but I still had that fear that he's gonna find out and he's gonna come and he's gonna rape me. Like, you ruined my life, really. Like, the effects that that had on me, on my like education, like my grades dropped so quick, so fast, like my mental health, and I got diagnosed with PTSD. I suffered nightmares, I panic attacks, couldn't sleep at all because I was scared of a flashback. But it still affects me like 6 years later, and I think that's something I'm gonna live with.
There was a lot of sort of dissociation around that time of just sort of, it doesn't matter because it's not going to affect me because it's my body is not me anyway. Yeah, I think it was a lot of just sort of losing respect for my own body because no one else seemed to respect it anyway. It was just kind of a loss of self-worth.
I knew I could never report it, not even out of fear, obviously, but even then I knew the system was against me because it wasn't rape, but there wasn't really any like physical evidence. And I just kind of knew, what's the point of me dragging myself through all of this again when I know nothing's gonna happen? If anything, it's gonna be worse for me.
Say if I actually went to the police about that man when I was 14, nothing, they might talk to him, but if nothing would happen. All that would happen would be that he then found out that I'd told the police and he might come back into my life. And I don't want anything to do with him.
So I can't say, maybe some people did remain friends with him, but from my knowledge, the people that I told, they're not friends with him. They don't associate with him in any sort of way. I'm really lucky with that. But I do think that enabling and remaining in those friendships knowingly is a big problem, and it truly sets back any progression of accountability. If you can't even tell your friend that's a guy to be like, look, the way you spoke about them or what you did to them is wrong. Well, he didn't do anything to me, so I don't want to pick sides. You clearly have an issue with women, and you clearly don't find that much fault in what they've done.
Boys should be taught how to treat women. I think a lot of men I've spoken to have very almost scary misogynistic views that seem to be getting more and more common. Like this hatred towards women, like thinking that we're trying to take everything from them, when really we just wanna be, and we just wanna be okay. I never wanted any of that. It's like, oh, just another woman saying they've been assaulted. I feel like it's almost so common that it's normalised. It's like we've almost desensitized ourselves to it. Because my friends have told me stories, and it was like we were all sat around sort of having a bottle of wine, and we were all telling our stories of when we were assaulted, and it's like that it normalises it, but also it shows how much of a problem it is. It shouldn't be normal.
you keep saying the same thing and nobody's listening. You're like, at this point, you truly just want to grab someone and just be like, please listen to me. It's such a problem of men kind of playing everything women go through, just playing it off, kind of like, oh, whatever, this again. But I think now social media has desensitized so many people to so many horrific things, and I think the treatment of women is one of them.
I think I did stop talking about a lot of things that had happened in my life because it was just like I didn't want to be that person, or like I was attention seeking. I think a lot of the time women get accused of attention seeking more so than men. I feel guilty about the picture I'm painting now, but it's already been painted by them.
All of these stem from the normalization of abuse against women in terms of like rape and sexual assault. And men might be sick of hearing it, but women are sick of living it.